What in the melon chomping, fly sucking finale was that supposed to be? You know, I actually made a joke with my husband when we were watching this, and when the ending was popping off, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they're setting up all of this and teasing all of this and they left it on a weird ass cliffhanger where nothing actually happens?
That wouldn't be funny at all.
And they did the very thing that I thought that they wouldn't do because anyone could tell that would be freaking stupid. And I'm glad to see it's not just me. I'm glad to see it's not just me that's crazy, right? It says fans are fuming over the House of the Dragon Season 2 finale. Now, if this is their way of trying to get buzz about their show, they really shot themselves in the foot with this because this is not how you do it. And people are going to be looking at this and spreading the word that not that the show was good, but like Game of Thrones Season 8, they left it on a really bad season. This season had nothing happening to it. Now, do I think it's worse than Game of Thrones Season 8? No, because that was Season 8 and they built up the entire show for nada. The whole thing was just disgusting. This is not that. This is Season 2 and it's still going somewhere, but this is not a very good vote of confidence, in my opinion. We're coming from Game of Thrones. You need to convince us that you can do better, and this was not it. And these are some of the things that people were posting.
And here we go. I hope you're hungry for nothing.
Someone else said, House of the Dragon Season 2 successfully replacing Game of Thrones Season 8 as the most disappointing and poorly executed seasons of television. Somebody else said, fans were expecting a great battle in the finale, as was I. After the ending to episode 7, why didn't you give it to them? House of the Dragon Season 2 writers be like,
why? Because fuck them, that's why.
Someone else said that the season of House of the Dragon was the worst season in the whole Game of Thrones universe, including Season 8 of Game of Thrones. I mean, I wouldn't say that, like, the whole season, but the ending really soured it. And then he continues saying, why not give us a real season finale? Seemed like every episode you thought next week will be the one, and the one won't come for another 2 years. And so people are furious, and for good reason too. We got a season finale that gave us nothing. The season finale is when all the stakes that we've been building up is supposed to give us a payoff.
I cannot believe I waited 8 episodes for them to gloriously not give me anything. Holy fucking shit, House of the Dragon. You know what got me through this week? It was honestly saying, hey, it's the last episode of the season. There's going to be something huge. Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. I feel like there's no presents on Christmas morning. What the actual fuck? I should get a refund on my Max subscription for the last 3 months.
Imagine you were edging and edging and edging and edging and edging and edging. And you're like, okay, it's gonna be freaking amazing. And then a plane like flies through the ground and creates this freaking cosmic sinkhole. And now you're frustrated, but you're also fighting for your life. And you know that release will never come for a long time because now zombies are coming up from the ground. It's gonna be a long time before you have a blast session. Like, that's what this felt like. 2 years? Some of us will be dead in 2 years. I swear to God. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Like, do writers not know how to write anymore? I'm just confused. I'm really confused. Like, I'm legit what did y'all strike for? Are you trying to get people to replace you with AI? Because the AI would have given us a good finale. And you can still set up the finale in such a way that we can get a season 3. What are you all on? Lord have mercy. You have freaking children's shows that do better finales than this. Are you actually for real right now? So here's the thing, right? Like, okay, we have Aemond, and he's doing all this. First of all, it would have been for Aemond. I like that the exchange between his sister and he, right? But it would have been great for us when all of this was happening to see Aemond actually doing something. I like that Aegon is still a player in this, but when they said that Aemond burned Sharp Point, it would have been nice if we could have seen him do that. Daemon, we saw him still at Harrenhal. He's still doing his thing. Also, he can just get his visions and see in his visions that Game of Thrones happened and, oh my god, winter is coming. Oh, why are we talking about that? I mean, I get that that was part of it, but that amounted to nothing either. We see him have the vision of Rhaenyra on the throne. We see a snippet of Daenerys, which amounts to absolutely nothing, so it doesn't even matter.
House of Dragon, please don't piss me off right now, because seeing the White Walkers and Daenerys in the vision in tonight's episode of the finale of House of the Dragon, knowing what the fuck happened in the last season, I'm about to tweak out. I'm about to get mad, okay? Game of Thrones is a masterpiece, okay? The entire Game of Thrones series is a masterpiece. I know the books are even better. I have all the books on my physical shelf. I have the books on my physical shelf, and I am yet to read it. But with how the show ended, oh, I am so sick to my stomach and ill. Because what I want to do is pick up my MacBook and rewatch Game of Thrones all over again. But to what end? But what's the point? Okay, I know what happened. The build up for the fucking White Walkers, and then that's what happened. And then Daenerys, like this. No.
We got this setup that honestly could have been completed all in one episode, the last episode. The finale is supposed to see where we're supposed to get the Dance of the Dragons now. Instead, we have drama. And even though these exchanges on their own are not bad, they needed to happen. They could have been done throughout the other episode. The last episode, this is where we're supposed to see the amalgamation of all of that. The people marching, we were supposed to get that at the end of the last episode. And this is where we're supposed to see everybody go and do something now. I mean, there is writing your story, and then there is flicking people's beans along with no respect for the viewers or their time. You have essentially wasted our time. No one died. We got not one battle, not one person dying. No, I mean, it would have been good if we went into a battle and someone's dragon died or something, and they set it up that way. Have a battle between the men or something, and then we see the dragons. Like, I had this whole thing in my head that young Grey Worm girl was gonna come in with her dragon, or we at least get a payoff of seeing her tame the dragon, or the dragon and her have this exchange or something. Nope, don't get that. They didn't even give us the courtesy of seeing all the dragons fly out to battle. All the troops are marching. You see the fleet. We see them in their profiles, like that's what we really want to see. It's not. And then we see Alicent, or whoever the hell that is, standing there with her cape blowing in the wind, or whoever that, I think is Rhaenyra. It doesn't even matter at this point, to be honest, but that's what we end on. Not the dragon. It's House of the Dragon, and we don't even see it end on a freaking dragon or any of the dragon. This whole thing was a waste of freaking time. And then you're like, all right, stay tuned for season 2. It's just like what they did with the show The Bear, which is season 3 was just a big bowl of nothing. It's just, we don't know how to end this, or we don't know where to take this, so we're gonna waste 5 hours of your time doing absolutely nothing and going absolutely nowhere. The entire time you're like, this is gonna happen, it's coming. Oh, no, it's not. Gotta wait 2 more years. It's not even like you have a hiatus where you come in a few months to see what happens. No, 2 years. 2 years, dude.
2 years.
People are gonna forget about the show in 2 years. They're gonna be like, okay, whatever. Another show's gonna come and take its place. Can another show please, like, can somebody who is actually a decent writer from Wattpad or Webtoons or some other website please come and show these people how it's done? Like, can we get some people to start some Kickstarters for that? You have people on YouTube that can write a better story and give us a better cliffhanger and do it in a palatable way that will keep us watching their show and coming back for more. This was just sad. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be disingenuous and say that this season was horrible. Sorry. That the show was horrible. The show is really good, and they did some great jobs setting it up. Did they get everything correct? No. There were some missteps here and there, like leaving Daemon for the entire season at Harrenhal for what could have been an episode or 2 if you really want to stretch it that far. We don't need him sidelined for the entire show doing absolutely nothing. But when you're setting things in motion for a Game of Thrones show, the way that human psychology works is for them to want to stay interested in your show and be excited for the next season. You have to give them something to make them feel like they ate, so they know to come back to you for food. If they're following you along and you're giving them crumbs and you're like, I'm gonna feed you a big meal, and then you give them some confetti in their mouth or some cinnamon, and you're like, psych, you're gonna have to wait till 2 years before I can actually give you a meal. Why would they want to ever waste time with you? They would just think to themselves, wow, that was stupid. I'm not even excited. Now I'm just mad. Now I don't even want to have anything to do with the show because, especially riding on the coattails of what happened in Game of Thrones Season 8, people are going to be a lot more leery. And so you're basically telling them in bad faith that you're going down the same road with what you did with this ending of this season. Why would they be excited? The way that you leave excitement for people is you give them something to be excited over, and then you leave a little bit of it. You give them 80% and then you leave 20. But this gave us freaking 5% and left us nothing. All these moving pieces, 7 episodes. You're supposed to build up what's supposed to be something of a payoff in episode 8, and you did not give the people that. A little bit of me is still in denial, wondering if we're actually getting 10 seasons, because it feels like it's supposed to be 8 out of 10, because it just feels so unfinished. It doesn't feel like we got anything. I know the story is still being told, but it felt like we got absolutely nothing. All of the setup. You didn't give us one thing, not one. Here is something you could have given us. The dragon. The freaking side quest dragon thing with Grey Worm 2.0. She is doing whatever. I guess she's following the dragon for all this time. She finally finds it. And they showed this in the freaking previews. And she finds the dragon, and there's the dragon. And first of all, it looks very underwhelming to me. They make it seem like this dragon is wild and formidable, and it is not as big as I thought it was going to be.
That's not what your mother says.
I thought it was going to rival Vermithor and Vhagar. And if you look at her size compared to the dragon, like that, she's longer than its head. That's what we were building up to? Really? That's it? I was expecting some gigantic Monster Hunter boss level creature that could rival Vhagar, but we get this little tiny thing that's like, you know, like she looks at it, instead of hearing this big bass in its voice, we get this, mommy, like, it's just so weird. They were building up this dragon for so long. It's wild, it's huge, it's formidable. And it drops what it's eating and just roars at her. We don't even get a close-up of it or a slow reveal. Like, what even was this? What was the point of it? Just felt like this whole side quest was filler for no reason. And the dragon looks like, I'm sorry, it looks like a horse stick.
As a horse.
Like, look at, okay, you know, it doesn't even matter. Wow. If we didn't have to wait 2 years, this wouldn't be as big of a deal. They gave us side quests with Tywin Lannister and the woman who has a bunch of wives, and they wasted time with that. Why were we seeing that? Why were we seeing Tywin Lannister? We've never seen him or had this character been shown before. Why was this part of the story important? Nobody cares about this dude. And if we did, why not give us side quests or backstories of him way early on? Now you just shoehorn him in here as a means to fill up the freaking hour-long finale that doesn't feel like a finale at all and feels like a freaking 5th episode. We don't get enough on Otto Hightower. And you know the worst thing? I don't know if people mention this, but them having that whole vision that Daemon had, I think that's gonna hurt the show a little bit. And let me tell you why. Game of Thrones was a disaster. Everyone knows this, right? It was a disaster. And Daemon had these visions of basically everything that is to come in Game of Thrones. So in a weird way, it's like Daemon, or the way they set up the story here, they're trying to somehow weave this show back into Game of Thrones, which is a failed show. It's unfortunate, but the way they ended it and so haphazardly slapped the finale and the story together, they essentially made what was the greatest show into one of the worst shows. Worst payoffs. And now you're trying to make us feel something by telling us, via Daemon's vision, hey guys, now this all is gonna happen in Game of Thrones. That's the really big story. That ties into that. Nobody cares about that.
I just finished watching House of the Dragon season 2, the finale, and I'm annoyed. This was the most anticlimactic finale that I have seen in all of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, period. Nobody go up in flames. Rhaena didn't claim daggum sheep stealer, whatever its name is. Like, I am so freaking disappointed. I'm supposed to go live tomorrow night and talk about this. I don't even care to talk about it.
We know that this is a prequel, but nobody cares about that. What a good writer and an experienced writer would have done if they knew better was to tie this into something that's farther into the future. Now Damon is telling Rhaenyra that, well, you know, winter is coming. This is a bigger threat than we ever thought it would be. But it isn't, though, because Game of Thrones has been swelling up this grandiose payoff that never is a payoff. The Night King, the White Walkers, was this overarching enemy, and nothing ever came of it. It got stabbed before the battle even begun. It was like, hey, I'm the badass, and this little girl comes and is like, stab, and it's like, oh no, you got me, and we're dead. Now, okay, Cersei's the big baddie now. Some of the worst writing I have ever seen in my life, and you're somehow trying to make us care about that, because most of us are coming from Game of Thrones, and you're somehow trying to make us all care about the White Walkers and the Night King again, when that amounted to absolutely nothing. Why should we even be afraid of the Night King anymore? That's dumb. And now you're tying that back into that like it's supposed to be meaningful or something. I get that we're gonna get more of the story in season 3, but honestly, I love the show, but this supposed finale made me not excited for this. I'm so done. Like, it's not like I walked away thinking, man, oh man, I can't wait till season 3 now. That was awesome. I just feel like, you know, once bitten, twice shy, we're gonna be let down. It's gonna be nothing. They don't know what they're doing. It's gonna be Game of Thrones all over again. This is so dumb. That's how I feel right now. I don't even want to talk about anything House of Dragons. I don't even feel like talking about theories or anything like that because they flop this so hard. People don't like to be teased and not given some kind of payoff. You're cooking this meal for them and then you throw it in the garbage. Or you tell them, oh, it was just an artificial scent of me cooking. You weren't actually gonna get anything to eat while you promised that you were gonna give them dinner. And then you say psych and you give them absolutely nothing. Why would they come back to your house? Why would they believe anything you say at this point? And that is hurting. I don't know if this is a new edge that shows are doing now, but they need to stop because they're gonna end up losing people. And I would gather that even though this doesn't have nearly the same quality that Game of Thrones had with the budget, it's still quite lofty of an expense to take on to make this show. So you need to make sure that your money is well spent and that you keep people watching so you can get more money and not waste it. There are so many other shows now that are saturating the mediums, so people are going to choose other things. And nothing motivates people to create competition for shows like this than when shows like this drop the ball. No excitement, just a fizzle. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Overall, the show is good. I will say that. I love the show. I like the characters.
Fuck that.
But there is no payoff for me. And so I'm not excited about it. But do you think I'm being too harsh? I could say other things. Alicent, for example, cannot stand that woman. Oh my god. It was nice seeing Rhaenyra put her in her place and calling her out. And then Alicent was like, oh, you have the nerve to be all arrogant. You were the only arrogant one, bro. And then you slept with your best friend's father. Like, I know it wasn't completely your fault, but you know damn well what you were doing. I don't hope she doesn't just get to walk away after she caused all this chaos. And then she's like, I just want to live at peace after everything that you've done, after everything that you've caused. It's good that she's seen the light now, but it's like she's trying to wash her hands of any accountability after she had also sent Rhaenyra away, when Rhaenyra had been the one asking for peace. And see, they were even setting up, oh, this is all blood and war now. I'm gonna have to do this. This is what we're gonna have to do. Maybe not have her take Aegon's head. Maybe have the war happen and have some dragons die. You know what they could have done? Give us just some of the battle. Have the battle start where the men meet each other and then they start fighting and then they bring out the dragon. And then we have Vhagar come out, or maybe, I don't know what they're doing. Vhagar and Daemon face off against each other, and while we're getting a battle and we're getting at least something, Rhaenyra finally realizes, okay, now we have them dead to rights. Now I gotta make a choice to kill Aegon, or maybe they're about to kill Vhagar, or whatever the case is. Give us something, and then you give us the cliffhanger there. But they gave us nothing. Nothing. And then they're going to be all pretentious talking about it like, yeah, so I according to my calculations, this was the character's, like, turning point. And then, like, you know, he realized himself upon losing his wife. And they're all, no one cares. No one cares. I don't think the writers actually, like, it's really hard for me to believe the writers actually sat in the room and they're like, this is how we're going to end the season. People are really going to be excited for the next one after this, after what they did, dragging us along for 8 freaking episodes. Yeah, get out of here. This is not helping the writers' cases for AI, by the way, replacing you. Like, that is not helping. Now you may be wondering, what would have been a way to fix this? And I know, in the vision that Daemon has with Daenerys, nobody actually cares about that, as I've said before, but this is how it should have been done. We already know that Game of Thrones failed with what they did. So, we had, at the conclusion of Game of Thrones, Drogon burning the Iron Throne and flying off with his mother's body, possibly to Volantis or some other area like that. What they should have done, and this would have gotten people instantly excited, is not just tie this into Game of Thrones or the White Walkers, but give us something past that. Extend the vision to where we see Drogon carrying Dany and we see him flying over this land and landing with her. Don't show what happens. Just show Drogon landing. And then show something else. Show the White Walkers having been defeated, or maybe not, but show the White Walkers. Because remember, Daemon's having this vision, so he doesn't know what's gonna happen, but show the White Walkers. And then show something after. Something more debilitating and frightening than the White Walkers. Show that the White Walkers are only the tip of the proverbial iceberg. Something that we've not yet seen in the Game of Thrones universe as of yet. Give us that. So we're like, oh, they're just tying it into Game of Thrones. Yeah, we already saw how that ended, and then people see, wait a minute, they added something else that is the future after what takes place in Game of Thrones that we didn't even know about. Oh shit. Oh my god, that would have gotten people excited. That's what I would have done to fix what happened in Game of Thrones. Because if you can tie in the story, they've already changed so much from the source material. So if you can tie into the story something that is a bigger boogeyman than the White Walkers, even if it wasn't already included in the source material, which you deviated from so drastically anyway, that would give people something to be excited over. Because holy crap, it would make sense that the White Walkers and Dany's dragons were only the beginning and we were wrong. But Daemon wouldn't know this because he is just seeing little itsy bitses of the vision, but we as the audience know. We know what all of this means. He doesn't know what it means, but we know what it means. And because we've already seen the story, we're coming from the future and have already seen what happened in Game of Thrones, now we're like, yeah, the White Walkers already happened, but this other thing? And Dany was brought to this land where there are other dragons or something else is there, and maybe Drogon is looking up at something that's much larger than he is. I mean, come on. There are a million different ways they could have dealt with this, and they chose all the worst things to do. But anyway, that's what I would have done. I'm not like a professional writer, but I would gather that most of us on YouTube could probably come up with a better ending than a lot of these showrunners are coming up with.